St. Petersburg, October 30th. My dearest sister, I hope this letter finds you as well as the previous one. First and foremost, I must assure you that I am okay in light of recent events. And lo, such events, so incredible as to think impossible, had I not seen my share and spoken with many a witness. Against brevity, I must elaborate on the circumstances that led to such events, if only so you may understand the grandeur as I, and many others of Geneva, do presently. According to locals, the first reports of strangeness occurred roughly 2 months past. Local morgues and cemeteries saw a series of robberies under the cover of night. Human remains have always been of high value to universities for medical students to practice their studies upon. However, the rate of grave robbings appear to have increased tenfold in such a short amount of time. Many locals were frightened, and some even began to fall ill, as if by unknown means, including esteemed medical student Frankenstein, who seemed the most afflicted, ranting and raving of specters only he could see. With authorities baffled, blame was cast on the local synagogue, with allegations of the blood libel being the cause, and the community has been in an uproar ever since. These allegations and attacks revealed a prime suspect, a mysterious member of the church who only worked under the cover of night, tirelessly cleaning and maintaining repairs. A giant of a man who towered over others, he surely met the descriptions of the fiend spoken of by locals in hushed tones. I too would have suspected him, had I not known then what I do know now. Tensions had mounted until quite recently, when a local hospital was broken into and a patient murdered. One such Victor Frankenstein, who was seeking care when he was killed in cold blood. The audacity of this attack rallied the townsfolk into a frenzy, who proceeded to track and eventually pin down the demon. I managed to join this hunt, and to my amazement I caught a sight of something truly unreal. A brutish giant of incredible size, an almost godlike visage hidden beneath unkempt hair and stitches that scarred the surface of his body like railroad tracks spanning the countryside. The monster was cornered on the night of October 27th. With torches and pitchforks in tow, the mob gave chase, but the fiend could climb. By God, he could climb. In spite of his size, he bounded up windowsills to rooftops as effortlessly as a squirrel clambers up a tree. He soon disappeared as the ensuing rain made visibility nigh impossible. The following night, the local synagogue was burned to ruin. During the uproarious flames, the mob drew once more around, bearing witness to not only one monster, but two, locked in a struggle upon the rooftop before disappearing behind a clash of thunder. The locals are unsure of exactly what transpired, but the sightings of either monster came to a halt thereafter. I had the opportunity to speak with a member of the synagogue who claims to have bore witness to the true events firsthand, though few believe his tale. I have taken the liberty of transcribing his testimony herein. My name is David. I have worked in this shul since I was little. It has seen many stories and held many secrets, some of which the world was never meant to behold, secrets which have hopefully been cleansed of this plane. Following attacks on this place of worship, our rabbi took it upon himself to enlist the aid of a protector from legend who would serve and defend his home forevermore. His name was Yosef. Yosef was not like ordinary men. He did not hunger, he could not speak. He would work tirelessly under the cover of night and heavy robes to avoid prying eyes who would see him as a devil. It was of extreme importance that he rested on the Sabbath. However, that night was of grave significance. It was that night the real devil entered into the synagogue. The fiend of local legend entered through a window on the second floor, taking refuge from the rain and the mob on his trail. The time was almost midnight, time for Yosef to be put to rest. But the intrusion proved that wouldn't be happening. I was the only witness present at the time. I begged Yosef to stand down, but he wouldn't listen. He proceeded to the intruder. The horror of flesh came down onto the altar, and Yosef met his gaze. They stared at one another as the roar of the town bell echoed through the night. The Sabbath was upon us. Something seemed to snap in Yosef. The once gentle giant now bore a scowl and seemed to accost the intruder. I was not spotted. I managed to hide myself behind a pew. The dim candles and long shadows concealed me well enough. The intruder spoke. With a deep tone he uttered, Come no closer. If you wish for an altercation, then I will not hold back. I am the bastard son of the late Frankenstein. By his hands he made me, and by mine own I have unmade him. If you approach me, you will follow in suit.
Yosef did not heed his warning, instead approaching with arms outstretched. The two locked in a sort of embrace, rocking violently before Yosef threw the apparent Frankenstein to one side, crashing him through the bima and toppling a candelabra. The intruder seemed no worse for wear, quickly getting to his feet with unnatural animation. He leapt back to stay out of Yosef's reach. A length of wood was hurled at Yosef, which broke in two. Yosef hesitated before hurling the items back. The intruder did not fare so lucky. A sizable splinter flew like a divine arrow and merged itself with his chest. The apparent Frankenstein stumbled and breathed heavily. On pulling the item from his chest, he shed his own ragged shirt to reveal his bare form. Bestial build and pallor tone, a quilted abomination.
See me now, the sum of all knowledge, the product of all men, the inheritor of this world. No tooth or claw can rend mine flesh, no blade or axe may fell me.
Yosef was unfazed, rummaging through the debris beneath him. He presented another secret our rabbi had created, a forbidden charm of sorts. With it in hand, Yosef vanished from sight, not as if he was cloaked in darkness like myself, but as if becoming the color of air, as I knew the charm's power to do so. Frankenstein appeared as shocked by this as I was, jumping back once more. All that remained of Yosef were the thuds of his approaching footsteps. The intruder seemed himself quite clever, levying a lit candle in the direction of the steps. A sudden fire revealed not only Yosef's location, but also set alight both the charm and the robes he wore.
Fire is a fickle creation. It grows and hungers with a mind of its own, until consuming even its own maker.
The flames only served to bear Yosef's true form, that of cracked brick and hot metal in a shape roughly human. The creature Frankenstein seemed taken aback that it was no mere armor or shielding that blocked previous blows, but Yosef's very physique itself. Yosef was no man. He was a golem, sworn protector of the Jewish people. Once more Yosef came forward, toppling pews and further spreading embers through the hall of the building he once worked so hard to uphold.
What unholy sight! Before me walks hell itself, but it cannot claim me so easily.
The creature scaled the inner walls and proceeded back to the top of the building, as if invisible wings carried him. But Yosef was determined. While heavy, he was strong. With labored jabs, Yosef dug his hands into the wall and proceeded to scale his way up. Slowly, but the intruder was running out of places to hide. I attempted to leave, but found myself locked inside. The townsfolk had caught on to the fire, and to the presence of the monster they were hoping to execute. The door was blocked from outside. I found myself trapped. Amidst the angered yelling, the thundering storm, and the roaring flames, I knelt down and began to pray. By the grace of Yahweh, I managed to survive and give you this account.
According to the onlookers, the two giants exchanged blows on the rooftop in clear view. The stone Yosef demonstrated far greater strength. The yellow flesh of Frankenstein appeared bruised, stained with blackened blood. He appeared to speak or yell, but the crowd couldn't make out his words. The fiend grabbed hold of a chain and circumnavigated Yosef, leveraging it around him and entangling his deadly grasp. According to the onlookers, it was like divine intervention. The creature leapt up to the tallest point and held his arm to the sky, still gripping one end of the chain that now ensnared the golem. It was at that moment that a blinding flash of lightning brought the battle to its end. Him the almighty power, hurled headlong, flaming from the ethereal sky, with hideous ruin and combustion, down to bottomless perdition, there to dwell in adamantine chains and penal fire, who durst defy the omnipotent to arms. The event was so bright and over so quickly that there was much debate on what exactly happened. Whatever transpired, the resulting crash tore a massive hole in the rooftop clear through to the bottom of the synagogue. The inside was, by this point, completely enveloped by flames. Neither the remains of Yosef or the creature were found in the aftermath. Curiously, the downpour extinguished the flames soon after, revealing an unusual mass of rubble that appeared to shield the young Hebrew from the heat and falling debris. The town is in agreement that the incredible evening spelled the doom of both monsters. Peace quickly returned, some even volunteered to help rebuild the synagogue. With these terrible events now behind us, some of the town still claim to see a bizarre figure in the far north of here, but it's been dismissed as hysteria from what's transpired. However, the same was said about the Hebrew story, which I believe to be genuine. I have a dreadful suspicion that this madness isn't over, that the creature continues to walk this earth. May God have mercy on whomever he crosses, as I feel nothing short of God himself can stop him. I will be returning to England once more. Expect my return following this letter, and do be careful when traveling alone.
Oh, my sweet Yosef, look at what's become of you. Don't worry. Your day will come again, my son. Soon it will come.